tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, Sleepyheads! Welcome back to another episode of the Sleepy Hollow After Show here on AfterBuzz TV, talking about Season 2, Episode 6, The Abyss Gazes Back. I'm Matt Lieberman. Joining me as always, the panel's all here. Mr. Stephen Lemieux is here.
Hey, guys!
Mr. Zach Wilson is here.
What's up?
And the lovely Miss Jacque Borowski is here.
Holla, holla.
Yes. And before we get started, we had issued a challenge to you vis-a-vis iTunes reviews, and you exceeded the amount that we had asked for, which means that Stephen Lemieux has to chug a 2-liter bottle of tea because of the Boston Tea Party.
Yep. The Boston drinking a lot of this.
It's not Fanta because we decided to make it theme appropriate.
We decided to make it theme appropriate.
And I can't open it, so Matt, use your strong hands.
Is this continued music just like to give us some stakes in this?
Thank you.
And that was like the easiest thing in the world.
It makes it way more intense.
He's so sweet.
Yeah.
Aww. What was your shipper name?
Staffin. Was it?
Ew, that sounds terrible.
Maffin.
Stat.
Stat. All right, this episode is great. I'm gonna start drinking this because I have a lot to get through.
I'm gonna give him a punch out for calling me sweet because it's tea. I don't know if it's a sweetened tea or not, but
I don't think it is.
It's unsweetened.
It's not.
Oh, okay.
No,
it's very bitter.
Don't give it
Sorry.
to him.
Why don't you go ahead and drink it?
Jar.
Yeah. 1750. Oh, you're supposed to chug it, pal.
Do you want me to chug it?
You're supposed to.
While he's doing that, I have a question.
Yes.
Who is going to make Ichabod's clothes now that Caroline is dead?
I don't know.
I had this concern this episode when I saw him in normal people clothes.
When?
When he was doing yoga.
Was he in normal people clothes? I didn't even notice.
He was in like yoga pants and a normal shirt.
Oh my god, that's disgusting.
But just for like exercise clothes.
Yeah.
I guess.
Exercise clothes.
His under things.
It's so cold.
Steven, that bottle had better be hollow by the time the show's done.
Yeah.
I'm so sleepy.
Oh, 1, 2. That's 1850. So, you know, this was, I thought, a solid episode of the show. And that's the thing. I've been having, like, a weird issue with this season. Every episode has been good. There have not been any bad episodes. But at the same time, I feel like it's not quite the show that I fell in love with last season. I still enjoy it every time that I watch it, but there's a few things that I feel like have changed. One of which is one of my favorite aspects of the show last season was how diverse the cast was. And Frank Irving has been in Tarrytown. We barely ever see him, and when we do, he's isolated. Most of our, I don't know, John Cho's been basically missing. Every time we've introduced a new character, they've all been white. You know, we even just had, like, Abby's ex-boyfriend was Latino. Like, it was just, like, little things that, like, made the world feel a little more real to me.
But
and less TV pretty.
I mean, well, first of all, not every character's been white. We got our Latina police chief.
But she's barely on it, too. I feel like they're bringing in major characters that are just white.
But it's really just, it's just Hawley. And, like, Corbin's son.
But he's the whitest.
Well, maybe they're casting.
He is the whitest.
Maybe they're casting for how they want their roles and not just based on race. But that's none of my business.
No,
and I'm not making that point. No one's making that point, Steven.
But see, I also disagree with that, just because there's a history of television where they're just like, we just cast for the best person, and then that in itself is racist. So all the best people on television are white.
Well, like, I just mean in the sense of, if you look at Hawley from a character standpoint, when I see the character, it makes sense to me. Like, I don't feel like it's a bad casting.
So just because he kind of looks like
it's a bad casting.
He doesn't look like me at all. I'm way not that good looking. No,
Jesus.
I think Hawley makes sense from a casting standpoint for him to be this arrogant like bounty hunter kind of guy who uses his looks to get what he wants, kind of thing like that. I see it as like a surfer dude, very beach heavy. And then you look at what is the other character that they brought in? You look at Joe Corbin. He looks just like Corbin. His eyes are the same eyes as Corbin.
I'll admit that that's really impressive. But like even our like day players, even like our like new character guest stars of the week, even like
even the guys who got eaten, the random guys who got eaten, the guy at the bank that Ichabod was dealing with a few episodes ago. It's like even those parts. I'm just saying it was something that was that stood out so much to me in the first season. To see it go away just as suddenly just strikes me as odd. And they have all new writers this season. I met one of the writers for last season, and she was like, "Oh, I'm not working on it anymore. They have all new writers." And I wonder if that's part of it, or if like whoever they're using for casting is new too.
I think it's great. I think that there might be some room for more diverseness in the cast, but we're what are we, like 6 episodes, 7, 8?
6.
We're 6 episodes in, and really this season hasn't really been about introducing a lot of new characters. We've gotten Joe Corbin and we've gotten Hawley, and then we've gotten the new sheriff. I mean, we really haven't been just shoved down our throats new characters every single episode. Except for I guess Mary and then Caroline and
Headless. Now that he has a head, Abraham von Brunt being more of a character. And
do you think they'll bring back that character from last season that they had, the black gentleman from, I can't remember his name.
From where?
Wait, but what was the character?
He was in the past. He was in the past with Ichabod, but he got killed. But I still think they can have the.
The guy that
I remember who you're talking about.
I mean, I don't see in what context.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just difficult to cast extras from the South that aren't. I don't know.
Let's move off of this topic. I feel like we've exhausted the debate.
Yeah.
Let's talk about.
I like the show. I think it's great.
We all like the show.
I think
Steven.
the other thing that, comparing this to last season, there were so many mysteries to be solved last season, and it was more like National Treasure, whereas this season is more like, okay, we know what's going on, we know what the overarching themes are. I would like a little bit more National Treasure mystery thrown back in.
Well, I feel like there are some mysteries, and they are making connections. I thought it was very classic Sleepy Hollow and very cool of the show that the same crushed bone that turned Corbin's son into the Wendigo is the bone flute that we were introduced to a few episodes ago.
And that, like, more than I think even a lot of season 1 episodes felt naturally combined. One of my issues with the first season, as much as it was really good, was that a lot of stuff felt really convenient. Like, Ichabod happened to be in the right place at the right time, to know exactly the right people. And, like, in this case, he knew Daniel Boone a little bit, like, before he has to go to the Shawnee and everything, but that didn't feel cheap. It felt real. It felt like, oh, this makes sense that, like, somebody from that day knows this story.
Because he has knowledge of the time.
Yeah, but that worked as much as like when Jenny comes in, like, I read about one of these things back, and then I knew exactly. It didn't feel constructed. It felt natural, and I really enjoyed this episode.
Well, what I'm liking about the series as a whole so far is that everything's not just like there's shows where you watch like Breaking Bad where every episode is a building. This show is more of like, it's a slow build for an overarching story, and then we get the procedural every week. And that's what I enjoy about it, because they don't, as much as things kind of are very convenient, that's just because they have to wrap that story in that one episode. But then there are the things that carry over that are going to be a season later, or maybe 5 episodes later, that pop up and you're like, oh! So I'm enjoying it. I guess I thought the shiny thing was convenient, so I think it's kind of a different opinion on that too.
Steve, are you done with your drink?
No.
Yeah. Also, I think that there are, interesting mysteries and things that carry over from episode to episode in this season. I mean, for example, we have the jingen. What is that doing to Katrina?
Yeah.
I mean,
Hopefully it kills her. Yay!
I think that, you know, like one of the key things that's made this season different from last season is we have a clear antagonist who's on screen every episode. He isn't necessarily interacting with our heroes every episode, however. But here's the thing. It looks like, and this is, you know, getting into predictions maybe a little bit, but like it looks like next week.
Good job,
One of the
Steve.
things that we've needed is for Henry and Ichabod to sit down and have a discussion.
Yes.
Which I think we're going to get next
Dad to
episode.
son.
I'm excited.
Yeah, which like I think is so important, and finally we're getting into it. I really liked the main plot of this episode. I liked reintroducing Corbin's son. I thought that the Wendigo was a very well realized creature,
Yeah.
Yes.
and made for a fun hunt and a great reuse of the Masonic cell.
Yeah, well, it's a great myth too.
I love it.
I'm familiar. Like I was familiar with the Wendigo, this like Native American. It's one of the few Native American like monster like myths that's really like that's like fit into the pop culture lexicon.
That people still write stories for, like
'Cause
fiction.
It's a fascinating
It's great.
character, like like somebody dead wandering the earth, like just killing. And basically, if you eat human flesh, you become a Wendigo.
Well, there's so many variations of it. Yeah.
Is closer to the original.
Well, I like that they brought it back because if you go back into last season, we did have, was it? No, it was the show with the Indian tribes and stuff, and them trying to work with the Native Americans to solve a certain case. I can't remember which case it was.
I don't remember that at all.
I don't
Yeah, I don't
remember
remember them
either.
working with Native Americans.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'll have to rewatch the season to tell you guys which one it was. Okay.
But I really enjoyed the episode. The character design on the Wendigo was
That was
awesome.
awesome.
Excellent, and the transformation sequence
Yes.
was beautifully
Oh,
done.
it was
Yes.
great.
I love
Excellent.
the D transformation in the glass. Looked really good and felt. And it's just like because it was creepy. We got to see their reactions and we got to see him just like melt.
Well, I love that they didn't try to milk it. Like they really like just put it through like. In 5 seconds, he's already transformed. Like you'll watch like Teen Wolf, and you'll have like the transformation's gonna take like 3 minutes, and like you walk away and go get something to drink and come back, and it's like the nose is coming out like Hemlock Grove
Well,
kind of
this
style.
episode had so much in it. It's like they gotta make it fast. 'Cause
Oh,
the
yeah.
episode was just packed. That's
But it
why
made
I
it
liked
so much
about
more
this episode.
powerful.
Yeah.
And the other thing about it is that this big A story, what's very smart and efficient storytelling, and I would say smarter than the show has been lately,
Yeah.
is that it was used to forward both Abby's character development and Ichabod's character development directly by exploring Abby's relationship with Corbin and how it may have affected other people, and giving us a little bit more of how she became the Abby we know and love today, and also putting that seed into Ichabod's head that no matter how bad his relationship with his son is, he is still his son. He still loves his
Yes.
son, and he needs to try to reach out and communicate with him, because no matter what terrible things he has done, he is still capable of change.
I like that it's like a theme. It's a theme of this show and a theme of this season that characters are able to be redeemed. So because for someone like Abby, who had she was going to go to jail, and she met Corbin, and that started her redemption process. And parallel, like we have Henry Parrish, who you would think is far beyond redemption, but Joe encourages him, hey, go talk to your son, just tell him you love him, even if he's done these terrible things, you still love him.
So let's actually break down Joe a little bit, because we get introduced to him through this random bar fight at a bar, which has more ramifications than we realized at the time, because if they didn't break up the bar, if anyone started bleeding, he would have turned into a Wendigo right then and there. And then he goes off, they talk to Abby a little bit, but then he goes off to dig up something in the forest, and this is where they first see it running across the road. And it ripped open the rib cage of his friend. That was crazy.
Which is basically what got them the viewer discretion advised, I think.
Pretty much.
It was pretty grisly.
You know what this reminded me of? That's what it is. X-Files. This reminded me of like an episode of the X-Files. Hardcore.
I mean, Sleepy Hollow, it does have X-Files elements. You have Ichabod and Abby as Mulder and Scully.
Yeah, the skeptic and the believer. It's always at night. You know, I get it.
Neither one's really a skeptic anymore, though.
Right.
Yeah.
So do we think...
Well, she gets to have her moment of like, Daniel Boone, the guy with the raccoon hat. Benjamin Franklin. You knew him.
Does it to cover the scars on the back of his head.
Yeah. Wait a minute. This woman is someone that you used to know, Mary, the woman that you used to be with. Like she has the it's the line every episode where it's like, wait. There is someone else from history that you are familiar with and intimately acquainted with. Shut the front door.
We had a fan a few weeks ago, and I apologize, I can't remember who it was, who basically called Ichabod the Forrest Gump of
pretty much.
He meets everyone. Yes.
He just has this little tour of history of the Revolutionary War.
He knows everybody. He's the mayor of the past.
But it is just it is justified though on the show. They don't ignore that fact. They don't just pretend like they'll go along with it. Like they justify it in the fact that he was sent around to lots of people to apprentice with them because he needed to be trained in order to be a witness.
But where's Lieutenant Dan?
Where is Lieutenant Dan? Oh, you're right. Rock and Rontius, the Sandman. Rock and Rontius.
They had to interact with the Native Americans.
Right.
That's right.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, Steve, you win this one.
Yes.
I felt crazy for a second. I was like, was it Helix? And I was like, no, it couldn't have been
Guys,
that.
we should all just tell Steve whenever he comes up with something that it's totally wrong, and then he should feel crazy and then go home and be like, no, guys, I was right.
I'll wake up in the middle of the night. Just kidding. I never get sleep.
I got this tweet today that I thought was so funny until I watched the episode and I realized it was actually literal. And it was like, what did Hawley do in this episode? Abby shouldn't be thinking about him. Ichabod got that cure, and I'm like, oh yeah, Ichabod got that cure for what ails her. But no, it was Ichabod was the one who actually got the cure from the Shawnee. But it's true. Hawley in this episode, he basically he scoffed, he smirked. He checked out Abby's butt. He felt real nervous when Jenny came in because that's totally what he was doing. And then he introduced them to the Shawnee, and that's all he did. That's all he did in this episode.
Need him to do more? Like they brought him in because they need, like he's becoming our sort of like an expert in like if you need to find something, he's your guy.
But he's our Frank surrogate, and I would much rather. Frank is a far more interesting character to me. He's fueled by tragedy.
Is far more interesting.
He's a better actor.
No. Hawley's got his own sense of tragedy. All right.
Just when to go home.
He's been experiencing tragedy.
$19.
When to go away.
When to go home.
Yeah. It's just.
Look, I mean, Hawley. I grant you that he could use some more backstory being built. He can be fleshed out.
Or any backstory
he can,
whatsoever.
Well, we get a little bit of relationship backstory, which is the beginning of something interesting. He needs more time. He needs to be given a little bit more. But I like the foundation that we've been given with him. I like having an Indiana Jones type character on this show.
I do too. I just wish that he was a better actor.
Ouch.
I'm just saying, and I hate to be that guy who's just harping. But this was my favorite show of last year, and it's just sort of like, this is just like a blazing red flag.
And it's also because, I mean, you have already such a good cast. Like, I mean, think of it. We have this one day player, Carolyn, who everybody is like, why did she die? Like, you're casting day players that are good. Like, that's how good this show is.
Yeah.
Like, not only is the main cast strong, except for Hawley.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, you say that this character development is coming. I ask you, when to go? When to go?
Would you say this character needs an overhaul?
Oh my gosh.
I would say that.
They just need to know when to go big.
2050.
Oh my god.
Dude, Wendigo's a fun word to play
We're
with.
gonna go poor.
$21.
I don't mind Hawley, honestly. I have been saying this for the whole time.
I
don't mind Hawley. I think his character is what it's supposed to be.
He's just supposed to be a guy who lives down at the docks, trades all kinds of crazy items.
He's
for
literally
money.
Hansel from Zoolander. I mean, that's...
No, Hansel from Zoolander is much better. Don't do that comparison because Hansel is hilarious.
Charming.
It's like, yeah, I know some Shawnee.
I personally like what we have so far. I think he can get more. I think he will get more. I have faith in the show to give us that.
My question...
You're right, it's not there yet.
Ish gets real. Is he gonna be helping them or running away.
I think he needs a big experience before he will help, but I think he eventually will. But there's like going to be a come to Jesus moment.
Or
for
he
him.
needs a piece of that.
Just a piece to tempt him.
Abby.
A piece of that Abby Mills. Put a piece of that. Abby,
I'm not even
Abby
acknowledging
Mills.
that. Anyway.
It's Abby Mills, a piece.
Hey, Matt, you're being me for a second.
You guys,
will-
I'm not going to ship you anymore if you're going to start acting like each other.
Jackie just wants a little piece.
On the ship note, though, I'm just ignoring you two.
Great thing about witnesses.
On the ship note, I'm not feeling like I know that Hawley's sort of in there to be there for Abby. I'm just not feeling any vibe.
It's a
between the two of
triangle,
them.
though. It's where he
triangle.
likes Abby. Abby's not interested in him. Jenny's interested in him. And they're trying to throw this in as a wrench between the sisters, which I think is a completely useless, annoying triangle trope. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, but let's talk about more of what we liked in this episode. I thought the idea of the jingen is really cool, where it's
Jinkin.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
I was so mad, though, that he gave the Jinkin away, and I was like, Ichabod couldn't have switched it out with some other, like...
Right?
Yeah, I
but
was
then
like-
it turns into that spider. I'm like, spiders? It's just,
I think I wore this shirt today.
Nice.
yeah.
Jinkin is literally taking Australia and putting it in a bottle and then seeing what comes out.
Listen, if you're interested in getting the world's finest Jenkins spiders, composed of all of the worst poisons in all of history, why don't you come on down to Spider Emporium? It's a wrong network.
God.
We could have just though. I mean, seriously, in that amount of time, like these guys have to know that Henry Parrish is good at what he does.
It's true.
So it's like you just take some red, like vegetable juice or something, put weird spidery crap in it,
I was
and
just
then
like-
make a double.
I was like, pour it down the sink, guys. Oh, hey, look, Henry wants this. Let's pour it down the sink.
Don't pour it down the sink, because then it's in the water
yeah,
supply.
then it'll murder people. In the
Pour it
water
on the
supply.
dirt somewhere.
Diluted.
But then
it's
it'll still
poison the dirt.
Yeah,
Seal it in concrete.
that's a good idea.
Give it to
yeah.
Katrina. Oh, wait, they did.
That was actually one of the most this whole episode was really exciting. But then when Katrina was poisoned, I was torn between totally excited that I'm like, oh, hopefully she'll just eat this spider and die, and then we can bring in a different, better character. But my other problem is that it looks like from the previews, spoiler alert, it looks like from the previews next week that she's going to be in
preggers.
trouble.
That she's
and,
going
like,
to wear jeans. Jeans.
Wait, so can we talk about this now?
Yeah.
I knew Jackie was gonna
can't.
have like a torn because if
another
Katrina's
Princess Peach moment.
if Katrina's gonna go bad eventually, I don't want it to be because of this spider.
No, it
Or
looks like
because of this potion or whatever. It needs to be, and like
It needs to be a choice.
I want. Here's the thing: Katrina has not been as active as she can be on this show. I like the character.
Not active
I
at
like
all.
the character. It needs more, and if she's gonna go evil, it needs to be of her own volition, like a maybe misguided, whatever reasons for it. But it needs to be her doing it, not possession by evil spider.
Well, I don't think the spider is going to possess her in the sense of changing who she is. I mean, it looked like it made her pregnant. It looked like we're going with the possession of here you have Satan's baby trope. I think that's what we're going with next
She's
episode.
gonna have a
Game of
baby Moloch.
Thrones in
I think-
like season 2.
I think we're gonna get
Baby
Demon
Moloch.
Baby
Baby
Planned
Moloch.
Parenthood next week.
Demon babies.
Is that how Moloch comes to Earth? He's born as a baby and has
Yeah.
to be
Yes.
raised.
Moloch comes to Earth through
wait,
the
what story
unholy
do they
gate
do
that is
that?
Katrina's
So
vagina.
Moloch is
It's Ghostbusters 2.
It's Ghostbusters too.
Vagina.
Vigo.
Yeah, here you go. Okay, before we get even further off the rails, it is time to talk about iTunes. I say it every week only because it's the truth. Go to iTunes, rate and review the show. It's the best way for you to support AfterBuzz TV. For what we do here, we put out the widest array of after show content anywhere on the web, over 80 hours a week, on time every single week. And the best way to help us out, help us get sponsors, keep our lights on and doors open, is go to iTunes, rate and review the show. Even if you watch it on YouTube, it is the best way. And you get a great shout out. out. We have one review this week from Tegan in 26. 5 stars, anything but sleepy. I have just as much fun listening to this podcast as I do watching Sleepy Hollow every week. Shout out to Jacque Borowski, who mentioned 1776 musical Ben Franklin, for he is my favorite Ben.
Aww. Yay.
We got 4 more.
What?
You don't have it on yours?
I don't have it on mine.
All right, we got Witnesses by Sonia Dyson. Do you think that Katrina believes Abby has powers? Because how was Abby able to help with the spell?
See,
this was a good theory we had on YouTube.
Yeah, someone on YouTube wrote that, and I'm sorry, I forgot who wrote it now, that Abby said she couldn't do the spell without a witch, but then
Abby's like, I hope a witness will work.
And then I hope a witness will work, and then Abby comes in and is able to do the spell that Katrina said she couldn't do without a witch.
So
interesting.
We're thinking at this point that Abby might have powers.
How sick would it be if by like season 7 she's like a warrior mage and she's like got a gun in one hand and a spell in the other, and it's basically
really
Diablo?
Good. She's already really like
You mean Hellgate London?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
if we, I know this is probably a stretch, but like we see how good she is at yoga in the beginning, and it's like you would think that if you're a witch, you have to like be able to like have very good meditative powers.
All right, continuing on. 5 stars from Little Miss Sammy. Fantastic. I look forward to this podcast every week, and I can honestly say it's nearly as fun as the Sleepy Hollow show itself. The hosts are hilarious, insightful, and so wonderfully diverse in opinions, especially on the topic of one arguably useless redheaded witch. Jackie and Matt make it interesting. Steven supplies the puns, and they all work together to put on a great, entertaining podcast, although I'm personally offended that nobody has considered the hilarious pun that could have been put into play had you decided to call your predictions headcanon. But I digress. Keep up the great work. Wednesday Morning Ritual by Amaria86. I really love you guys in the podcast, actually breaking down the episodes and giving your amazing and hilarious commentary. And I listen to this podcast during my 20-minute drive to work, and always makes my Wednesday comment all the more enjoyable. Punjar and Purgatory Prom are the best. On a personal... Is somebody blowing on my neck?
No.
Aww,
Or honestly,
romance.
On a personal note, thanks to Jackie B, Matt L, and Stephen L for taking time to reply to my Sleepy Hollow tweets and ramblings at AP Gonzalez 86. You guys really care about the fans. It's totally appreciated. P.S. Love Zach Wilson too. Great addition to the podcast. Huzzah and long live AfterBuzz Sleepy Hollow. Tally ho Punjar.
Tally ho Punjar.
And then Tiff722. Love your podcast. You guys actually like Sleepy Hollow, and it shows in your enthusiasm. Seriously, can you guys watch and recap all my favorite shows? Keep up the great work. 5 stars. Will you watch and recap all my shows?
Wonderful. We love Sleepy Hollow. We want it to be the best show it can possibly be. And, you know, we finally got some movement on the Frank front this week, which actually made me really happy. I liked all the Frank stuff this week.
Yes.
Where his first scene felt almost like it was what was left of his last scene with Henry.
A little bit.
Like it felt like a scene that was cut from a previous episode.
Yes.
But basically that the man who hit his daughter while drunk driving, who put her in a wheelchair for the rest of her life, is in Tarrytown with him. Why a guy is in a psychiatric facility for being a drunk driver is beyond me.
Yeah,
but I'm just going to assume that Henry put him there as temptation.
Right.
And he's like, the only way that you can get out of your soul being mine is to kill a man.
And I love how much nonsense this makes, where he's basically trying to, like, tempt him by... You would think that, okay, if we're dealing with, like, a heaven and hell situation, killing somebody... And Frank says he's not going to kill an innocent person, and yes, this person's not innocent, but at the same time, it's like... Frank always looks for the good in people, so you put him in this situation where he's like, oh, you kill somebody and then you get out scot-free. No, killing somebody does not negate, like, your soul being owned.
Well, the interesting thing about this...
Shouldn't you have to, like, make a room full of puppies to, like, get your soul back?
I feel like if Frank kills the guy, he gets his soul back, but it only means that his soul has gone to Moloch because he killed somebody.
But what if Henry's just straight up lying?
That's what I thought. I thought he was just straight up lying.
What if he doesn't actually own his soul unless he kills someone? Like, he has to kill someone in order to complete that
That would make
Because he
sense.
straight up lied to Joe. He said he had a cure for him, and then he's like, "I gave you the cure. The only curse is humanity."
Dude, that was such an awesome Fringe moment.
Joe should have also known not to trust this guy.
I know. We spend 5 minutes in a scene with Abby where she's just like, you know what? Your dad, Corbin just really loved you. He really loved you. By the way, did I mention he loved you? And he just didn't know when to go. But he went away while you were on tour.
Oh, yeah, 22.
And he really loved you, and we're going to help you no matter what.
And he also...
Come with me. I have your cure. Sorry, Abby, I got to go with him, because this is what...
I mean, when you add that to the scene earlier when... the first Wendigo scene where they find the bodies near Joe, he's saying that his dad knew something, so he knows a little bit about what's going on, whether or not he knows like exactly what's going on, or he just knows there's some sort of weird mystery. It's like if your dad was siding with Abby with all these weird things going on, why would you hand that Xbox with the Jenga in it, Jinkin in it, Jenga,
Jinkin, you owe me a Coke.
In it to Henry.
mention on that, because we didn't actually.
It did look like an Xbox when he pulled it up.
We didn't actually get that information, because remember when they do find him, they said, my dad said it would kill us all. My dad said it would kill us all. But we never really realized, because he wasn't cursed before.
Yeah.
He wasn't cursed. Like, how would his dad say it would kill us all if he wasn't cursed when his dad was around? So what was he referencing Corbin saying it would kill us all?
Matt
I don't know.
Stop winking at people.
Why are you winking at people? It's so creepy. I'm glad you don't have the mustache anymore.
Because he's the thing that's going to kill us all.
Yeah, I'm the Jinkin in human form.
Maybe you're what Katrina gives birth to. What?
Continue with what you were going to say beforehand.
No, okay, this is a really good point. So, but what if maybe he was just raised on these myths? So like he knows the idea of monsters of the Wendigo.
No, he said he had no idea that's what it was. He was like, the thing I am has a name.
Yeah, he didn't know that.
We're not entirely sure what that was. I want to go back to Frank, because that's kind of what we moved on to just real quick. I love the scene where he sits down with the guy and he's like, look, I don't want to kill you. I just want you to apologize. And this guy is just the lamest, weakest worst person ever. Yeah, Marcy or Macy, whatever. Yeah, I'm sorry, whatever. And it's like, you put her in a wheelchair. Be sorry or don't be sorry.
Don't put me in here. He like blames her for putting him in jail.
She should have gotten off the sidewalk.
It's just like, seriously, like, I can't imagine someone who goes through that situation and doesn't have any ounce of guilt. It's just bizarre.
He is in a psychiatric ward.
That is true.
Yeah, so Frank grabs him and starts throttling him, and we get to see again like a glimpse of that weird future Frank, which I feel like it comes out of like a video game or a trailer or something. It's like all super weirdly bright, and he's got like machetes and there's fireballs.
It's his future if he goes forward with it.
It's
like,
a Super Mario nightmare.
He's getting closer and closer to if he kills a guy, that's his future, and he's one step closer to it. If he just loses it one time,
and he finally lets Abby know, hey, so my soul isn't mine, even though I feel like he found that out a couple episodes ago.
Hey, I got my phone call.
Did his one phone call. Maybe he wasn't allowed to make his one phone call until now.
Maybe. I feel like he got multiple phone calls before he was being put in isolation for trying to kill someone.
He even got like a visit, personal visit.
Visitation.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, sold my soul away. Peace.
Maybe he felt though at this point though, it really hit him that he's in a situation that he can't get out of, and he has to be honest about it. He was probably trying to figure out how to get out of it before.
True.
What do you think he's gonna do now though? Like, because it seemed like he has resigned himself to the fate, and he's not fighting anymore. So
lock himself away. I think his plan is to do nothing and hope that prevents him from ever falling over to that side.
Yeah.
So, like, there's tons of stories of the Mad Bishop or whatever it is. What is it? Very old stories. I can't remember.
The Mad King Aerys Targaryen?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm...
Who was killed by Jaime Lannister?
Like an old monk who
The
said
Kingslayer.
he had seen demons, so he wrote the book. He wrote this book about like the demons and hell and all this while he was locked in a cell and just crawling it into the words on his cell. And I feel like we might be getting some kind of character
Scrawling words on the wall, you mean?
Yeah, like some kind of character like that out of Frank, where he knows things that he's writing out on the wall that all he can do is just stay in this cell.
Okay.
I don't know.
In any case, by episode's end, we have cured the Wendigo. We get this moment between Abby and Ichabod where he does the spell. He thinks it doesn't work, and he pushes her to try to move quickly and kill this thing when she refuses, and the spell works like a little delayed reaction spell. And I feel like
this whole episode was a nail biter, though, because it's like you have he's turning and this is his last chance or whatever. Oh my gosh, I was at the end of my seat.
I legitimately thought he might get stuck in a Wendigo. Part of me thought, like, what if he like learns to just become the Wendigo and he becomes like they're like
Wendigo pet.
No, we already have Frankenstein on the loose.
Oh, I love Frankenstein.
We could be building this little mini army of monsters to battle.
I forgot about Frankenstein.
But that's the thing is that Henry Parrish says you're a creature of war, which would mean that if we had this creature, it would be on his side. It would not be on Abby or Ichabod's side.
But Frankenstein, you could argue, is a creature of war.
Yeah, but the Wendigo did not have any knowledge of anything.
Not in this form. That's what I'm saying. Like, I was thinking... I'm not still thinking it.
Can I just say how haphazardly people are just okay with, like, slicing their hand in half?
Yep,
like,
lots of it.
This whole episode, hey, Joe! I was, like, cracking up
Zach,
because...
we gotta get a Wendigo.
Joe! Because they're running around the street. Because, okay, we've set up that you don't have... Like, he has such a keen instinct that he can smell blood no matter what. And I just love the idea of them cutting their hands and then running down the street and waving their arms in the air as if, like, if their arm was, like, down by their side, he
wouldn't be able to smell it.
Chance of smelling it.
I'm just like, you know, maybe just like a little cut. You don't really need to go like down deep into your hand and be bleeding profusely and like.
Hey,
but when do you need to go?
$21.
I think we're 23.
This is really the Sleepy Hollow show because we're all sleepy.
We're all sleepy because it's very, very late.
And it's warm in here. It's like an incubator.
Yeah, I do feel like though there's a lot better places you could cut yourself, like other than the place where you have to hold a lot of things.
Yeah, they could just.
Where would you cut yourself?
They could just cut
like
Hawley and drag him along.
Okay.
Yeah, just cut Hawley and drag him around by the hair. Gosh darn it.
Can I just say that like. I like that when we finally like mention Katrina in a way like, oh, we could get Katrina's help. Oh, she's useless without her familiar. It's like, yeah.
What was her familiar? Was it that bird?
It was that dang bird.
She'll send another note that's like a text that just says K.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Help Henry.
All right.
Making berries.
So the final scene is the spider going into her mouth, and we're like.
So
sorry, before Sleepington Abbey, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I still think it's weird that. Aside from the fact that they're whitewashing the cast, I still think it's weird. Oh, thanks for turning the AC on. I think it's weird that Joe, after seeing all these things, wants to just go to Quantico instead of being there to help. Yeah. I would be so intrigued. I'd be like, I want to stay here and do my dad's work. Instead, he's like, okay, that was weird. Bye, guys.
I really like that recurring guest star role, but apparently they didn't like me enough.
I mean, it would be...
Would you rather have Hawley or Joe?
Joe. In a heartbeat.
Joe,
in a heartbeat.
He can know about artifacts. His dad taught him stuff.
Joe, in a heartbeat.
His dad left artifact stuff in his will.
Yeah. I do think it would be an interesting little ship if Abby and Joe started.
Weird. She was his babysitter.
Hey, but they're all like old now, so it don't matter.
Hey,
Jackie, it would be weird, but it could be awesome.
Joe might not want to go, but he sure knows when to go.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna call that 2350. And now I'm gonna say predictions. predictions of next week, because we mentioned the spider, and then we're going to do a quick Sleepington Abbey, and we're going to get out of here.
I'm shipping Joe and Wendigo as Wendigo.
They're the same person.
How is that a prediction?
It's not a prediction.
You can ship Jack Hyde as Jack Hyde.
Next week's episode appears to be all about saving Katrina and getting these two crazy kids back to loving each other and stopping being mad at each other.
Well, then she gets out of the house
and
so
is wearing jeans. She is wearing jeans.
Well,
is no one else?
They show her at the hot.
Hold on. That's
wait,
totally
man.
my Sleepington Abbey too.
But wait, she. What was it? Oh, she goes to the hospital.
Yeah.
I'm imagining that she's in the hospital. They put her in the hospital gown for whatever they have to do. They steal clothes from somebody and just go.
Got it. Okay.
So I don't think it's like she actively.
I find it weird that this Jingen that's supposed to be so powerful takes a long time to kill Katrina. I mean,
but it
seriously.
maybe, but just it is a powerful poison, but that doesn't mean it's its only quality.
Yeah, the flute from the thing turned a guy into a Wendigo.
It's true.
I think that Henry does have knowledge of how these things can otherwise be applied. Like if you just put a little bit of liquid in somebody, they would die really quick. If you pour it all out on a platter and
it turns into a magic spider.
Magic spider.
Yeah.
Spider
Different
Rasengan.
properties.
Yeah. Okay.
What do you think's gonna happen, Matt?
I think that they're trying to make her have a Moloch baby, and I think that it will be stopped by episode's end. I would like to also predict that Katrina gets out of the dang house and now has to be a part of the team, and it's real awkward.
There are many benefits to being the mother of a living god.
Oh my God! I think
Ghostbusters 2.
I think the spider is kind of a control device. Like, I think they want to control her with it, or Henry wants to control her with it, or...
Ew, so like she has sex with Headless, and that's why she's pregnant?
Oh.
Like he controls her into doing that?
No.
Can she see his head while they're having sex? Because she'll have to wear the green necklace.
Is he?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
No.
gross. Okay, ladies, gentlefolk, welcome back to another edition of Sleepington Abbey.
All right, let's get that music on.
Yeah, can we get the Downton Abbey theme, please?
Oh, they're gone.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Previously on Sleepington Abbey, many townsfolk were scandalized at the thought that one Katrina Crane had committed many, many sins.
'Twas most scandalous.
Most scandalous. They now gathered to talk about the latest rumors and wanderings of one Katrina Crane in the little Havisham of Sleepington. Havisham is not a name for a township. Good folk, I've heard the most dreadful rumor of one Katrina Crane.
Do tell.
She was caught in the public square wearing jeans. Oh, scandalous! So scandalous!
Graceful.
Yes.
How could she be betrothed at that point?
I heard that Katrina not only was wearing jeans in the town square, but wore black before Labor Day.
Scandalous! Absolutely terrible.
Terrible.
I heard that she went into labor after Labor Day, after wearing those jeans with Modoc's baby.
My word!
Scandalous! Everyone knows that Lord Moloch is betrothed.
I heard that Katrina Crane went to Mass for Ash Wednesday and wiped it off before the service was complete.
Most scandalous.
Scandalous indeed.
Can we get that? Can we get that theme back?
Oh.
Yeah. No.
No, guess not.
No. I think that's enough. Oh, it's back.
Yes. Will Katrina Crane be thrown out of Sleepington? Will the townspeople ever get more wine for their drinks?
Will she eat a bug that kills her to death?
Yes, all of that and more will be answered on the next installment of
Sleepington Abbey.
It's hard to make things for that when it's only about Katrina because she doesn't do anything.
What would you like?
Because, like, my whole thing, I was going to be like, in the pub, I heard there was some fisticuffs between a new man. You've heard of that Colbin, lad, his son.
Well,
Smells scandalous.
Katrina could overhear that if she was any good at overhearing things.
Okay. Stephen Lemieux, where can
Her
the people
detect useful
find
information
you?
skill is -5.
Yes.
Guys, you can find me on Twitter at Stephen Lemieux, StephenLemieux, or just follow Matt Lieberman because he usually retweets me every single day because he loves me.
I do love him. I love him so much. Hashtag Maffin.
Maffin.
You guys can catch me on Twitter at Zach Wilson, ThatzachWilson. And here at AfterBuzz, I've got Grimm, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Resurrection, Doctor Who Classics. Tune in, guys.
I'm at 123Jackie_B on Twitter, at 123JackieB, all one word on Instagram.
Okay, and you can find me on Twitter at Matt Lieberman. That's MattLieberman. You can also find me on YouTube, on SourceFed Nerd, and on my personal channel, youtube.com/Matthew D. Lieberman. Folks, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with an all-new installment, hopefully a little less punchy. Good night.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Good night, sleepyheads.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.